Good afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Crone Zone, Conversation with the Ancients. I'm Priscilla. I'm a light worker, a crone, and a channel. And today we're going to talk about shadow work. Last time we talked about intentions and manifesting, and now we're going to go to the dark side. We're talking about shadow work.
Right.
But first, let me introduce Heather and her cards, and then we'll get a start from there.
Yeah, my name is Heather. I also am a crone. I read cards. I'm a psychic medium, and I see ghosts.
Yes, you do.
I hear things too, like music in the air.
It's pretty
It's
cool.
funny, yeah. So we'll do the Return of the Spirit cards. They're by Cheryl Lee
I love these cards.
Harnish. Yeah, me too. And we'll just shake them up a little bit. We'll find out what it is that we need to know right now.
Awesome. We just also wanted to say today, we're just a couple of little old ladies that are on a spiritual journey, and please take whatever we say with a grain of salt. Keep what resonates with you and leave the rest. Everybody's on their own journey in their own way, and so are we.
Yes,
So I
always.
hope some of this resonates with you and helps you on your path and your journey. But
If
that's
something
why we're
doesn't,
here.
Forget it.
If it doesn't, just let it go. It's not for you at this time. So we get most of our information from research and our guides, and I channel a lot of the information.
One, two, three, four. I'm just pulling 6 cards, and we'll see what they have to say.
I love the card read.
So the first card is knowledge and frequency shift. I mean, there's manifest again.
And yeah, the frequency shift is a repeat too. So is immunity.
Yeah. Don't know how that happens, but it does. Okay, so our main interest is knowing different information. When you first start this, there's so many things you don't know, and somebody told us all that stuff. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yes.
What we understand, okay? And because that knowledge is so important to us, it also, what affects us is the frequency shift.
And there's lots of those right now. There is
Yeah.
so much light and information coming off the sun right now that we're being bombarded daily. You might want to have a look at the Schumann resonance, because
Right.
you can
But-
see the spikes.
And sometimes when they're talking about frequency shifts, they're talking about we end up in a not as good mood as we would like, and that moves our frequency down. So the knowledge that we have has a hard time progressing, okay? When they talk about immunity, they're talking about not, let me think on it, just our soul is working towards the immunity that we're trying to receive from moving up higher, because we do receive immunity to a lot of things when we move up in our frequency. We don't have to worry about some of the lower frequency people. And we're still manifesting. We still want things, so our physical body is still manifesting to get things that we want, if you remember from last week. And what we need to do in order to make sure we don't fall down in there is to use our intuition. Step back, look at what's happening, and use your intuition is the best way to go. That's not going to hurt you or anybody else, or your frequencies. So you can overcome to that, and you have your knowledge continue, and you become a caretaker for the world.
Beautiful.
So it's more complicated than I thought it was going to be, but yes, that's what it is.
So we're all gathering knowledge and raising our frequency to be able to manifest our the new 5D world as we become caretaker of Mother Earth
Right.
and the rest of humanity.
And you step back to use your intuition. Remember,
Cool.
it's the frequency shift that we're being warned against is the negative one because it stops us.
The lower vibrations.
Exactly.
Keep you from manifesting, keep you from
Doing
actually
what you
being
want to
happy.
do.
Exactly.
Yes.
Great. So here we go with the dark side. Have you ever had the sense that you've had a dark side? We all have information we're not happy about, things that we might have done in our younger days that we're not proud of. Those are part of the shadow side of you, the dark side of you, the stuff you'd rather keep hidden rather than talk about, deal with, or think about. And it usually manifests in our triggers. Our triggers are telling us this is something you have not dealt with, and you need to look at it and pay attention to it and delve into it and see what you can do about taking care of that situation. It bubbles up right at the wrong time, every time. But then again, maybe that's the right time for you to stop and have a look at it.
Right.
Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, is the one that brought shadow work to the public view, and he was a big believer in shadow work. He says we all have it, and it developed in our childhood, and we all know about our inner child and how our inner child needs love and attention and to balance, well, mine, her out. But let's see, we actually have a photo today, our inner child. There we go. So we repress those parts of us that people have told us we're not good enough, are not allowed in society or your family or whatever. We have all that from religion to parents to school, people telling us no, 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 all the time when we're kids. So we repress those.
Or you can do better.
Or you can do better. So we repress those parts of ourselves, and for whatever reason they were deemed unacceptable. And so the shadow is those areas that we really don't want to take a look at, that have been with us for a long time. It's our wounded part of us, but it's also the path to more happiness, because with you deal with those shadow wounds, you take them out and look at them, and if you need a psychiatrist, psychologist, whoever to help you with it, more power to you, whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. But it makes you a happier person if you deal with those issues. And you don't have to do it all at once. You can take your time and do a little bit at a time. But you're trying to bring a balance, like the yin and the yang in your body, the male and the female, the good, the dark, all that. You're just trying to balance it out so that your body can be healthier, and
That's
your
right.
mind and spirit can be healthier.
Because your whole body is composed of parts of yourself that you subconsciously rejected.
Exactly.
As well as those things that you kept that are, more productive for you. And he defined, Jung that is, he defined the shadow as the dark and emotional aspect of your psyche. And it's responsible for a lot of things, he says. If we're, as we were growing up, we would find things that didn't fit. I said, don't do that. It didn't fit in, so it went to the shadow side. Our attitude about ourselves can be on the shadow side. It's everything that you need. We can't eliminate our shadow. It stays with us forever, like a brother or a sister. It's always there. And in short, it's our dark side. Everybody has one. A lot of us try to just ignore it, but that doesn't work real well.
Yeah, I think ignoring is what most of us do, at least until we are aware that we need to take care of it.
It's where all your secrets are. It's your repressed feelings, your primitive impulses. We've had, primitive is usually physical. It's where everything that's deemed unacceptable or sinful or shameful or even evil, according to everybody around us by society, and it's all pushed in that dark side. And when we forget to look and to see it and deal with it, that's when the trouble starts. According to Jung, if you ignore your shadow, it tends to undermine and sabotage our lives. A way to prevent this is called shadow work.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't feel our best, we don't feel our best if our shadow isn't incorporated into the rest of our psyche. So that part of us really wants to be looked at and understood and actually released. When it's ignored, you become aware of it kind of like a naughty child. It has all kinds of issues like poor esteem, self-loathing, self-deceit, anxiety and depression, self-sabotage, inflated ego, self-absorption, projecting onto others. There's a myriad of things that go wrong if you don't address your shadow side.
So shadow work is working with your subconscious. It uncovers the parts of you that you've hidden away and you've repressed them, and you think they're undesirable. It's an attempt to, when you're working shadow work, it's an attempt to uncover everything that's been hidden so that you know who you really are. All the parts, good and bad. And those parts that you've rejected, you need to deal with them. If you don't do this, then you get burdened with things like guilt and anger, shame, disgust, grief, those kinds of things, because you just let it keep going and it's still there.
It just builds up. It gets worse as time goes on. So you have to be compassionate with yourself, don't you?
Yes, you do. So shadow work is ultimately about accepting and having compassion for yourself. It's a natural part of who you are. And by accepting your shadow self, you can start to see how your thoughts and feelings and emotions influence your behavior. When you're aware of it, you can take control and empower yourself with that. Because you know where it's at, you don't have that problem. And you can be your authentic self. You live a more deliberate and mindful, remember last week, mindful life.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we address our shadow? Well, you start looking at the things that trigger you and delve into those and see why they trigger you. You just have to get to the root of your triggers and be kind to yourself and others, because what you see in others is actually your issues more than likely. There's as you start to delve into it, you actually can go deeper and it gets darker and uglier and it's frightening and it's not fun. It's painful. It's absolutely painful.
Absolutely.
And it's worth every bit of that, because you can release all those pent up feelings that you've been carrying around your entire life. And you deserve to live as a whole being. You deserve to live as a whole human with all the parts integrated into one. And that's what shadow work really helps you do. Integrate all the different parts of you into one happy human.
Yes, it makes us a lot happier.
It does.
Because we're not hiding stuff away.
But it's also kind of like an onion.
Yeah.
You peel the layers and there's always something more
layer
underneath.
Exactly. But there are benefits to doing shadow work. You gain more confidence, because all those things that you were told you can't, all of a sudden, you know why And if you want to do them, and if there's the appropriate time, you can do them. But your confidence is better because you understand how your emotions came into it. You build better relationships with others. So, because let's face it, if you don't accept yourself, you can't accept anybody else.
So true.
Yeah, and a lot of people say if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else, really. Okay? It improves your creativity because the shadow side might not just be all the bad things. For instance, if somebody says you don't do something, don't do that, don't draw now, don't draw now. Well, when do you draw? Not often. They say don't doodle while you're in class. Well, I did.
You're a doodler.
I'm a doodler. But most people didn't want me doodling in class. You're not paying attention. Okay, it stops your creativity. And when you come to terms with your shadow side, that can return.
That's good.
Yeah.
We like that.
Good. Right. And it always leads to healing. And it helps you practice self-acceptance.
It certainly does.
It does a world of good for your insecurity because you accept yourself.
Exactly.
You discover your hidden talents. If you're always trying to please everybody else and you're painting what they want, not what you want.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you may have talents there that nobody knows about, but you're doing what they want. So you have to do what you want, your creativity.
Exactly.
And it improves your overall wellness. Since we were doing it, I can't imagine us really being sick for much of anything.
We haven't been since we started doing that work intently. You're right. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. That's
interesting.
Yeah. And it helps you increase your compassion to others. Instead of seeing them and saying, you had been doing that and how bad it is for them, you're saying, no, they're just another person who's working on the issues.
Exactly. It's so much easier to feel compassion for somebody else when you recognize they have the same issues you do.
Yeah, and you
maybe
have to
a little
have
different, but
for yourself
never
too.
Exactly.
So if you've got one, you've got the other, and you have better clarity. You have a better idea of how your thoughts and emotions and beliefs and feelings, why you act like you act.
True. That's true. So everyone has a shadow. We all have it. Look in the mirror, there it is. Mm-hmm. But the more you can integrate yourself in the shadow, the healthier you will feel. So how do you start? Like I said, start looking at the things that trigger you. They're always the bottom line. That's the best place you can start. Look at your habits. Look what you've done over and over and over again that hasn't worked or doesn't feel like it works anymore, or is not getting you what you want out of life. But avoid feeling ashamed. We all have those things that we're ashamed of, but you only know what you know at the time, and you have to forgive yourself.
You're doing the best you can with what you know.
Exactly. We all are, no matter what our age. So don't feel the shame if you can help it. Try not to. Just try to feel compassion for yourself and your inner child as well.
Your self-love.
Exactly. The self-love. Meditate. Meditate on your triggers. That's a really good way to get in touch with what they are and why they're there. And I kind of do a lot of that.
There's that silly word again.
Meditate. You know that is. Keep a shadow journal. God knows we have a journal for everything, right? What's one more or in addition to the one you have? Luckily, I have one that has different sections in it, so it's really easy to keep the same journal. So I like that. Mm-hmm. And then also express yourself artistically. Paint. Mm-hmm. Play music. Play your piano, your saxophone.
Right.
Draw, write, whatever brings you happiness, whatever your bliss is. Mm-hmm. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Right. It teaches you introspective skills. and self-awareness skills. And both of those are part of fundamental skills that you need for personal growth. So it helps you with those. Self-compassion is the key.
It absolutely is.
Right. You have to have compassion for yourself. You were doing the best you could do at the time with what you knew. It's okay.
It is okay.
Yeah. You know something more now, so you would react differently.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And if it's too hard, go get help. There are classes, there are therapists, there are friends. We talk to each other all the time, so
we're each other's therapists, I think.
I think so.
But really, if you don't feel like you can do it on your own, just look out there. There's plenty of therapists that specialize in shadow work. As a matter of fact, last fall, Heather and I went to Sedona Soul Adventures in Sedona. Right. Is that right? Sedona,
Arizona. Yeah. And it's about a week.
Yeah, we spent 4 days, I believe, actually doing
it.
Meeting with different excellent practitioners that helped us deal with our shadow work, and it was definitely life-changing.
And bring up stuff we didn't realize was there.
Yeah, that's the thing, the stuff you don't even realize you're holding in. It's wild.
Yeah. And that's not something I could help her with. And she didn't know enough about me to I'm going, oh, gee, I didn't realize that bothered me that much. You know.
Yeah, we learned a lot of things about ourselves. It was pretty amazing, and I highly recommend going on a soul adventure like that wherever you want to go. Yeah. We just happened to want to go to Sedona, and these people were fabulous.
They were.
But
and the whole city's full of people with gifts.
Yes, absolutely. Full of people with gifts and lots of UFOs in the sky.
Oh, yes.
We had a great experience.
And they'll help you find yours. So that's good.
Exactly. So, our next show, we're going to discuss meditation, and that will be on Saturday. And before we get to that, maybe Heather would read some cards for us.
Yeah, we like having you pull one card.
Okay,
because
I can do that.
That's just a card for everybody.
I can do that. We hope you've enjoyed this show on shadow work, and I hope you'll come back for our meditation soon on Saturday. That would be great. I just want to say hi to James. Hi, James. Thanks for joining us today.
And thank you also for fixing the glitches last week.
Oh, yeah. Excellent work on Glitch Fix. Yeah. Glitch Fix. Okay, here we go.
Return of Spirit. Well, working on your soul
returns you to your spirit.
Returns to your spirit. It lets you recognize your spirit. Your spirit is there, but you feel like it's returning. You finally open yourself up to be able to see it. Yes. So keep working on your shadow work and keep working on everything else, and everything will return or show up for you.
I love that.
Yes.
So our next show on Saturdays on meditation. If you enjoyed our show today, please hit like, subscribe, and share. We would appreciate that.
And thank you, Liz.
Oh, hi, Liz. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate that. It's good to see you here.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, you guys. We'll see you next time, and have a great week.
Right.
Bye.
Lots of